Darling, don't blow your top.
She always has my favorite.
An old man walks up to a timeless mansion made of basalt stone and ancient oak. The sky was clear, but it possessed a wind strong enough to carry small debris. It was the perfect day to visit someone. It was now the 5th time he knocked on the door with no answer. That would have been the end of it. However, he was still able to enter the manor with the spare key he possessed. The entire house was quiet, with only the sound of the wind filling the rooms. He calls out to him, but gets no answer. As he goes up the stairs, the squeaking floorboard destroys any ambiguity about his presence in the house. He enters his room and finds him in his bed. The routinely early bird remains in a deep slumber. "Maxwell, wake up. I would like to continue our discussion from earlier today," he said. But the old man still stayed sound asleep. He raises his voice. "Oh, for God's sakes, Maxwell, wake up." He approaches him to shake him awake, but still nothing. Maxwell said with a smidge of fear. He knows better than to remove his breathing mask due to his unique condition. Instead, he puts his ear on his chest to hear his breathing. At that moment, he realized why he wasn't responding. Maxwell Warwood was found dead. He was lying in his wooden bed, covered in cotton sheets and pillows that looked to be consuming him. His nightstand lamp illuminated his face. He was an aged man who wore an old nightgown. His face was covered with a mask connected to a breathing machine. It's been about 45 minutes since John found him. After a quick amateur autopsy, he identified a few details. His body was cold to the touch, which means he has been dead for at least 12 hours. Oddly enough, his eyes were watery, and his stomach seems to be a little bloated. Maxwell's breathing machine held a specific purpose. Maxwell possessed obstructive sleep apnea. To put it simply, it's a sleep disorder that causes the prevention of breathing during sleep. Therefore, the machine was on during the night to keep him alive. When John removed the breathing mask, it revealed his gaping mouth. The machine needs to be turned on manually, and it was on when John found him. Therefore, he was alive last night before he went to bed to turn on the machine. He must have passed away in the middle of his sleep. He was old, so it could have just been old age, or the machine simply malfunctioned. But then again, Maxwell called John Pelusser, his private investigator friend, the night after believing someone in his family was trying to kill him. That was the entire reason why he came here in the first place. So, just to be safe, it would be better to interrogate the whole family first. Veronica Green is the ex-wife of Maxwell, who left him after finding out he was being unfaithful towards her. The divorce was ugly and long. In the end, they tried to take as much from each other as they could, except for the kids. They were able to come to some agreement when Maxwell promised to keep her in his will once he died. However, he backed out of the agreement a few weeks earlier. Augustine Warwood was the only son of Maxwell and Veronica. In the divorce, he had to stay with his father. Augustine grew up to become a botanist, a profession that his father hated, believing it to be a waste of time. He made his beliefs clear to his son at almost every opportunity, wishing he would take over his company instead. But Augustine chose to pursue his PhD in botany in the most prestigious schools in the country. The larger problem being that Augustine was only able to pay for school with the help of his father's money. So in the end, his father gave him an ultimatum: join his company or he will stop paying for his tuition. Athena Warwood was the only daughter of the couple, and in the divorce, she was raised by her neglectful mother. Veronica tried her best to turn her against her father, but this never worked. In the end, Athena admired her father, and wished to be just like him one day, and to take charge of the company. Without any financial aid from her father, she was able to study hard enough to get a scholarship and major in business, becoming the top student in her class. She wished to impress her father with her accomplishments and become the next CEO. But when the day came to ask her father for a spot in the company, he flat out refused. Not just CEO, but any position. He still believed Athena was being manipulated by her mother and was trying to destroy his company from the inside. In one soul-crushing argument, he flat out told her that as long as he was alive, he would never allow her near his business. Unsurprisingly, all 3 members of the family came by his house in the past few weeks before his death. Veronica came to speak to him about the will in person, mostly in his study, and sometimes in his bed, during the days when he wasn't feeling well, which increased dramatically. Augustine came over to try to convince his father to change his mind about his tuition. He spent most of his time in the kitchen, making his father meals and cleaning his house. This mainly involved dusting off old furniture and installing new plants to make the house seem more lived in. Athena came by to suck up to her father as much as possible, trying to play games, watch TV, and feed him his favorite snacks. However, Veronica made her leave early as her allergies started to act up. From all this information, only one person had the time, motive, and ability to accomplish this: Augustine. This killing seems untraceable until you remember 2 specific details. The first is Maxwell's watery eyes, and the second is his bloated stomach. The watery eyes are indicative that Maxwell had seasonal allergies. This fact becomes more plausible when you remember that Athena possessed the same level of allergies when she was in the house, a trait she most likely inherited by her absent father. Moreover, allergens can be caused by the presence of specific plants. Knowing full well that his father possessed sleep apnea and seasonal allergies, he used both of those facts in conjuncture to kill Maxwell. In his perceived effort to make the house nicer through plant life, he was in fact killing him. Using the allergens from specific plants that he would have knowledge of, he was able to block his nose canals, due to his nose canals being more narrow than before, but the machine still operating at the same breathing cycle. Maxwell's frail body could not keep up. More air was coming in than coming out, which in turn would cause him to start over-breathing, similar to hyperventilation. All these factors, combined with Maxwell's frail anatomy, would make his body give out. In the end, Augustine was arrested for his crimes, and once the Slayer Clause was put into effect, he never saw another dime of his father's money to pay for his tuition or bail. Moreover, it was revealed that Maxwell had an entire section dedicated to Veronica in his will, showing that even after everything, he still cared for her. And with him gone, there was now a power vacuum in his company, which was quickly filled up by Athena, who now became the new CEO. Thanks for watching.